Yeah, we did it. We're actually live. What's going
We're
on,
here.
Mav? How you doing,
We're
brother?
here. Doing all
Yeah,
right. It's late for me, but
it's late. It's late for me. Definitely not used to doing this kind of stuff. I think this is the first time. Um, this is the first time we're doing live on YouTube. So welcome, folks, to the people on YouTube or on Mav's page. Welcome. I mean, I'm pretty excited to see how this works out.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's pretty late and we looks like we got some people watching. So that's pretty good.
Really? Can
Yeah.
you tell on your end? How can you tell? I can't. I can't
Can. Yeah, it's a little icon for me kind of shows. So we got someone out there. Hey, we are going to be looking at the chat. So feel
tell.
free to drop a chat if you're here. Even if you're not here, put a chat in. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I got nothing on my end as far as like being able to tell, so I'm not sure. But I'm a complete novice when it comes to understanding this kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see.
See how it goes. And hello to everybody on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You're over there.
Yeah, we wanted to do this coverage. Let's see what happens. You know what? It would be so hilarious if we are definitely wrong. And
I know.
right at midnight, it happens, bro. We're out of here. This live stream, all of a sudden, we're just like poof, gone, and that would be great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we'll see. But we did want to mention before it gets to that point because everyone knows it's not tomorrow until it's tomorrow in Pacific time.
That's right.
It only counts when it's in Pacific time. I already messaged some friends. I'm like, hey man, did you get raptured? And they're like, no man, it's already tomorrow. But so I guess we have to wait till Pacific time here in good old California. What do you think, Matt? What's going on?
Well, I think the midnight thing maybe it's going to happen at noon. But I think midnight's a good option because if you check the clock, which I will do now, it's let's see. It should be what time in Jerusalem because someone told me it has to be Jerusalem.
Mm.
It is right now 9:30 a.m. in Jerusalem. So maybe we're looking at a sort of a midday rapture. I'm sure there's some middays out there. Midday
Oh,
rapture
sorry.
people.
Sorry, I went on the double feed started feeding into our live feed here.
We're good over here.
Okay, cool.
So yeah,
Anyways,
topic tonight. I mean, if you can't tell from the title, if you can't tell from the thumbnail, this is Rapture Watch 2023. Can you believe it?
that's right. If you didn't know, almost every year since I can remember when I started looking into it, since before 2012 in September, there was always this the rapture is nigh. It's coming in September. It's always either 22nd, 23rd, 24th. It's right there in the mid range of the 20s towards the end of the 20s. And I've never seen it go past 25, but it's always been like it's either 22, 23, 24, 25 every year. And I was like, why? Why every year? I remember even seeing you remember seeing the banners, like the street signs, like Rapture's nigh and all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, there's it's a few years back with Harold Camping.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big one, and
Yeah.
it was family radio something.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big one. I want to say that was something like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna check it right now.
Yeah.
But
You're gonna check it?
yeah, I'm looking right now, but it was pretty recent that yeah, forecaster of the end of the world. 2011 and he did it again in I want to say it was 2017, 2016, something like that. Something like that.
Yep. So every year around that time, so then I started noticing that there's actually a lot of people on the conspiracy red pilled side also paying attention to those dates for different reasons. So I was like, what's up with this date? And of course, for me, September is very important because 9/11, it is happy birthday, Jesus, if you look into it. And part of why a lot of people think it is the end of the world has to do with the constellations, actually, that kind of pointed towards the birth of Jesus a long time ago, as we see in Revelation chapter 12. What they're talking about there, you can actually pinpoint that constellation if you use like stellarium and things like that. You can kind of find out when those stars align the way they do in the book of Revelation. Mav,
Well, pretty
Mav,
close.
yeah,
Yeah, close enough.
yeah. So what do you think, Matt? Where should we go? You want to show some vids? What do you want to do? We want to talk about a little bit of this stuff leading up to midnight and see what happens, man.
Yeah, let's look at this one video. There's one video I found that I think maybe one of those that gets clipped and passed around, but I think it'd be pretty good to check this one out. So I'm gonna add it here. We can take a look. Let's see. Here it is. Let's be on the side here. All right. So we'll play this and we'll probably pause and talk throughout. So
discussing September 23rd, which is this Saturday. And according to many, it has worldwide significance. Now, for some, it's very exciting. Ooh, yeah. And some people are very scared about it. And so we need to.
Yeah. Just to pause for a second. Chuck, do you know anyone who's afraid of this?
No. Maybe a while ago when I was kind of in that rapture cult mentality, I'd like to call it now, probably. I was always kind of paying attention to it. I'm like, maybe this one's the year. Maybe this time it is. Maybe it is the end of the world. But no. In my close circles, maybe I'm in a bubble. I don't know anybody.
I'm asking because I don't know anyone who's afraid. I also don't know anyone who's excited. So I don't know anyone who's really talking about it, at least in my circles, but I've been seeing stuff online, but I don't know anybody who actually is paying any attention to this.
Yeah, no elevated emotions of any sort.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep going.
Talk about it before it's too late. So are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
We got an exciting one because the rapture could be coming this Saturday.
Oh,
that's at least according to a lot of people on the internet. Why? It's actually pretty convincing.
Who?
I don't know.
Other than us, I don't know anyone who's talking about it.
Yeah, and we need to get back in these circles. Maybe because we're so removed from the Pentecostal pre-trib. Oh, look at that! Enoch Futris. He's awake. It is a lot. It is a lot. He is ahead in time. So definitely, he could probably tell us. Hey, man, I guess you weren't raptured where you are. Maybe it goes by letter alphabet. He's got a last name that's towards the end of the alphabet. Maybe it's ABCs first, and then it goes from there.
I hadn't thought of that. Maybe, yeah.
you got to think of all possibilities. So
yeah, for real.
What was I saying? What did he say? The rapture.
Calgon, take me away. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I don't really hear many people, but I think you and I are probably so if it's internet driven, if it's social media driven, it's going to be algorithm driven. So I don't think you and I are really in any of these circles that would.
Yeah. We don't click that anymore. I don't click any of those, so it's not clickbait for me. End times and eschatology is kind of like a different thing for me. So I don't know. I'm not. We'll see. Keep going.
I was looking into it, and I know you were, Jules, and it's pretty convincing, and it kind of makes me a little excited. I can't lie, because I hope so.
So according to all these people on the internet, Jesus is coming back to rapture the church this Saturday, September 23rd. Woohoo!
10 a.m. Santa's coming in.
I mean, we better.
10 a.m. We missed it.
Oh, it was in the morning.
It's 10 hours from now. Shoot. Yeah. Rap Sure. Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Nice.
This guy is kind of jarring. It's just the audio, I think, but anyway,
Yeah.
keep going.
Or sound the alarm. Or let's get our sleeping bags and go, camp out on the front lawn and wait for Jesus to come back. No, not at all.
Oh,
Please hear me say that this is absolute hype and hogwash.
Oh,
well, look at that.
well, then why are we even doing this stream then?
Shoot. Well, maybe it's the wrong video.
Should have listened to this guy first.
Man, do you want to keep going? We got some other ones we could do too.
Yeah. I mean, we're just kind of presenting the different views here. Like King's Army says, zero titillation on this end. Yeah.
With you there.
Yeah,
With you
man.
there, Taryn.
We're definitely not titillated. I like that word.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and play some other stuff, man.
Let's see. We got I'm gonna take it out of the stream here.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about doing this stream, I think one of the things we talked about was how interesting it would be if we were wrong
Mm-hmm.
and if we actually did have
Yeah.
something happen. That'd be
I've
pretty
had
cool.
these conversations with pre-tribbers, and the thing that kind of, they're when as soon as they find out that I'm talking about not believing in a pre-tribulation rapture, they kind of clinch a little bit, like, I don't know if I believe that. That's kind of rough for me. But then I always kind of interject a little bit in the middle somewhere, or maybe towards the end. I'm like, but I hope that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, then that's going to be great. So I'm not trying to teach this from the pulpit. Don't worry. I won't tell the youth group.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not my church. But I mean, if people are asking me, I'll probably, share my thoughts, but most of the time, sometimes I've overshared for sure, because I'm kind of like, I don't think pre-trib is a thing. And so I always calm him down with saying, hey, but I hope I'm wrong. And, let's get out of here as soon as things get rough. So,
Yeah. And this video we're going to watch right now, this clip, has more to do with what you were talking about as far as signs in the sky sort of thing. So let's and specifically the date, September 23rd. So we'll listen in here.
you got no. I don't hear anything.
Right there.
Are you hearing it?
Yeah.
I don't hear anything.
Let me try it again. Sorry. Should have.
Are claiming the
We
There
get
you go.
closer
Cool.
and closer.
922.
September 23rd, a day that people are saying the Revelation 12 sign will appear in the heavens, a day that some people are claiming the rapture will happen, or others saying some big event such as war or something along these lines. Before I get into the Revelation 12 sign, the prophecy surrounding this, and how we can clearly, in my opinion, look at this and prove it to what it absolutely is. First, let's look at some movies and TV shows that for some reason continuously pick this date and display it on screen or mention it within the show.
Now, I think
Only the
it's
Sith deal in absolutes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is an absolute, oddly enough. But yeah, this thing was September 23rd. So 923, random number theory. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it. So that's the other thing is, it's not, even if you're looking at the license plate, the other things, we're not really looking at a date, are we? Necessarily, it's just the numbers 923. So I mean, keep that in mind too. If we random number theory, you will find the things you're looking for. If you're actually looking for that. So anyway, just want to throw that out there, and I'll probably shout it out when it happens here. So anyway.
In 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine.
923. Yeah.
123 Church Street, 47th floor.
47. Whoa.
Clearly, he's leaving us
A lot there.
code. Some way to reach him.
Time or date,
Oh,
maybe?
Sleepy Hollow.
September 23rd.
September 23rd, 1780.
But we haven't much time. We need to be ready in 10 days. Because next Thursday at exactly 9:23 a.m., the X-Force One satellite will be directly over Riverton.
until September
Oh, no.
22nd, midday. And if the arc isn't finished by then, you
Ooh.
will be.
Is that when it's going to happen? September 22nd, midday?
No, hold on a second. That last one was it was 9:22 midday.
Mm-hmm.
That's cheating.
I know, and it's kind of what I said earlier in the beginning. It's always been 22, 23, 24, and 25. But I mean, earlier when that guy said 92347, I mean 47 number of Masons right there.
Right, it's another one.
Yeah.
but still,
So, and then 9. I mean, for the people that are into numerology, we understand that 9 and 6 are pretty much the same as far as their understanding. They're inverted, right? That's like the whole
Right.
inverted number. And then if you've seen the movie 23 and what all that stuff, I mean, what is it? 2 divided by 3 is 0.666, and 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5. It's just like this whole thing that gets into a lot of weird numerology stuff.
Yeah.
So
or 2,
obviously-
3, and 6 equals 11.
right, and
That
so
kind of stuff.
there's a lot of this going on in the numerology world and the occult world. So that's why I'm kind of wondering, like, what's the deal with these numbers? And why are Christians, and that's why I kind of question it, why are Christians jumping on the same boat when it comes to this specific eschatological view?
Hmm,
It starts to make me wonder, like, what's going on here?
interesting. Well, we'll keep going. Oh,
The miracle of deliverance. By 9:23, the water of life shall proceed forth from the throne of the Lamb.
Those continued references are pretty strange, and I wanted to point that out, but they're not really tied to the Revelation 12 sign or the prophecy surrounding this date, which will be what the rest of this video is about. First, let's look at Revelation 12 and see what it says, and then look at how people are relating it to something that is about to happen or happening right now in the sky with the stars. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule the nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days.
mhm.
We'll look at now what is going on in the stars in reference to that verse that many people are claiming. Here we
All right, so this is going to be very boring if you're listening to the podcast, because we're looking at something with a whole lot of arrows and things pointing and numbers and things. But yeah, I'm actually really interested to hear what they're going to say here. But I know that we're going to come back right afterward with some strong opinions here, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, we'll keep going.
we see the constellation Virgo, which is depicted as a woman. We see the sun within her, as well as the moon by her feet, similar to what Revelation 12 says. Also, there is
Okay, I'm sorry, but and I know you can't see it if you're listening to the podcast. Does that sun look like it's in Virgo right now?
No.
No,
Mhm.
it does not. Nice
it's-
try.
Clothed with the sun.
Maybe if she took her clothes off and laid it on the chair behind her,
Mm.
but it's no.
Yeah, I don't think this really fits. And most of the time, I mean, if you look into Heiser stuff, right, when it comes to, like, if you look up Heiser on the birth of Jesus,
Yeah.
all of these things really align best in 9/11. Was it 2 or 3 AD?
It's 3 BC.
3, yeah, and so
It was
every-
even a particular window of time, like it was a particular
Correct.
like couple of hours, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And that's what the Magi are, we're looking at. when they're like, wait a minute, that's the sign. That's what we got to do. We got to go, and those are the signs that the Lord is here. So, but I mean, like they start using all of these things, and by the way, the Bible does have the old, for people that are like, why is this Christian guy looking at? Oh, I don't even know if he's Christian, but why is he looking at like Virgo and Leo and all that stuff? Well, in the Bible, they had a different significance, and they were called by different names. So they just kind of were adapted and turned into Leo and Virgo and all of these things. But if you look into what the Hebrews believed and what they called those constellations, you'd be surprised how it aligns with a lot of your biblical prophecy that has already happened when you look back. So that's a whole nother conversation. But when you start looking into the future and trying to prove prophecy by this, I've always found that weird, because prophecy, in my opinion, is supposed to be deliberately cryptic. You're not supposed to get it and understand it, because then if you know the plan, then Satan knows the plan and his minions, and it's like, then what's the point of them knowing? Because the whole point of prophecies sometimes, and especially when it comes to eschatology, is for it to be not fully understood until it happens, or more in retrospect, you're like, oh, that was the thing that was prophesied a long time ago. I mean, I don't know what you think, Mav, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and the thing is for some of these things, and this is sort of going to be, I think, this is the symptom of a lot of modern day eschatology, and you and I talk a lot offline about this. There is basically a prophetic industrial complex. There's a eschatology industrial complex, whatever you want to call it, where it's sort of like, here's the channels. You're either mill going this direction, pre-mill going this direction, but you're within these boundaries, and that's it. There's no other options. And so this group's going to talk about it this way, this other group's going to talk about it this way, and they're going to bicker, but they're all selling the books at the same time. And for everybody who is nervous, they're kind of taken in by that. And I think it's done deliberately on one end. I don't think there's a lot of malice behind it. I don't think people are doing this necessarily because they have nefarious idea. I think they get caught up into it too. But like with this is my example. This, for me, this is where the problem lies. Is here's the date that they're fixated on, right? September 23rd. Notice it's 2017. Few years off, actually, right? Because this is what was here. But the sun is not, she's not clothed with the sun. The sun is next to Virgo, but because these other things line up, they'll go, close enough. It's close enough. And that's the problem. And we only have a few minutes before the rapture happens. So I don't have time to get into it. And after the rapture, we'll all know anyway. So whatever. But, but the kind of the point is, there are particular things for the Messiah still to do in prophecy, right? And one of those things has to do with the defeat or the conquering of the enemies of Israel, which will happen at the end. Okay? Probably connected to or right before the Battle of Armageddon. Okay. Another discussion for another time, but it is a particular list of enemies that the Messiah is going to judge. Well, there's another passage that talks about the wars of Antichrist in Daniel, where that list is given, but it's given for what the Antichrist will do, and all of them are on there except for one. So all of the same enemies that are listed for the Messiah. So you can know that there's going to be people who go, well, he defeated, look, all of these. And there's going to be the one egghead in the back who's going to, yeah, but he didn't conquer that last one. Like, shut up, Ed. Right? Close enough. He must be the Messiah. Close enough. And honestly, like, what other part of theology do we go, close enough?
Right.
You know?
No. And it just gets wilder once you get down this kind of like rabbit hole, and you're like a little crazy about Rapture. Then everything becomes it. Like I think you sent me a video, I sent you the video, and then we sent it to this again to each other because we were so like taken back by it. It's ridiculous. Is somebody recorded whales or dolphins or something?
Yeah, there's the
that were-
whales and the birds.
right, and they were
Yeah.
just like all by this area in the water, and they were just flapping, and I don't know what they were doing, but it was some kind of weird event, and someone recorded it and then reposted it and made it an eschatology, like made an eschatology statement saying like, oh, I wonder if creation feels, if they feel that the Lord is returning soon, and that's why they're doing that thing. And I'm like, dude, where did you even pull that out from? Like, where is it? Revelations chapter 27? Like, I don't know. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
the
saying?
whales, the gathering of the whales, where the
Gathering
whales
of the whales.
gather.
Yeah, I missed it. I see. I didn't
Right.
read that part. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's like the extended version of John's revelation. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into that too. I mean, Revelation itself ends at chapter 22. And so there's just a lot that people bring up all the time when it comes to the end of the world, or rapture and all that stuff, and it gets out of hand. I think we've seen that. You sent me that. I sent you that whale one. I think you the Euphrates River thing.
Yeah, that was, it was just a random stream that showed up somewhere in a desert.
Mhm.
And people say, oh, it's a prophecy. It's like, yeah, that's not the whole prophecy. It's just water in the desert. That's not the point. That's not the point of the passage. That's not the point of the verse. It's just, oh, there's water there. There's more to it. But again, for a lot of people, close enough. Speaking of close enough, I did want to watch this other one real quick.
All right.
Because this is a throwback. A little traveling down memory lane for everybody who's been into the Rapture for a few decades. Thought we'd play that before we.
Speculation is running high that some alien force from outside our system has declared war on our planet. And there will be no place to hide.
A thief in the night.
I wish we'd all been ready.
Now to the screen comes a powerful story of Bible prophecy.
I know what's going on. It's evil, and I'm not going to join it.
A Thief in the Night is coming from Mark IV Pictures in color.
Please do not reveal the ending.
In color.
In color.
Do not reveal the ending.
I do not want to get raptured in black and white. No, no, no.
Heavens to Betsy, no. Yeah, I remember that. I remember watching that when I was. I mean, I'm not quite that old to have been old enough to watch that in '72, but I remember that. We watched it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to check the old atomic clock here.
All right, check it out. Let's
what
count
we
it down.
What do we have? What do we have? We're getting close. Oh my goodness, we've got a minute and 15 seconds.
All right, let's put that outro
Before-
song. Let's go.
Yeah, better put the outro. Everybody, grab something.
Make sure you're not wearing like spandex. You don't want to get slapped out of your
Yeah, if the room starts spinning, just look at the ground.
Here we go, man. Here we go.
Oh,
how much longer on that atomic clock?
seconds. 53 seconds.
53 seconds.
Well, now 48.
Ooh, it's happening.
Let's see.
A thief in the night, man.
There we go. Oh, found it. We're counting it down.
Here we go. Oh, dude. What if we're
doing
so
it.
long?
It's close.
Oh my gosh.
I wish I would have ordered a pizza today.
Oh my gosh, my wife had a great idea. She was going to give me these little Mexican breads with hot
See?
chocolate, Mexican hot chocolate. It was like last earthly meal.
It's been a great run, everybody.
Hey, man, Jobs not
Oh, here we go.
promoting. Here we go. Mhm.
Oh,
Well, nothing. We got nothing, man. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, Enoch. You'll get that package. He says, I have an Amazon order coming, though.
Shoot.
Oh, man. You should have got that Prime, bro.
they'll
That same
process
day
the return.
delivery. Well, we are still here, folks. I guess maybe it's Hawaii time. They're still 3 hours behind.
It'd be
so-
Hawaii. Although we did see from the one clip that it's supposed to be 10 a.m., which I didn't see it till then. So
Oh, okay.
I know that there are probably people who are upset that that it sounds like we're mocking.
I am.
We're mocking the rapture.
No, I just play. Okay.
You know, and I know Chuck just doesn't care. If that's what it sounds like. But I think part of the point is, and I think for most people, it's the 23rd. This time it's happening on the 23rd. Why? And then just wait for because of the blood moon, or because of a feast, or because of this thing, or the
And
whales.
Rosh Hashanah. Yeah.
So, it's a great point. The Amazon drone delivery, and you can catch her on your way up. That is brilliant.
There you go.
Enoch, problem solved. Perfect.
Modern problems, modern solutions.
The thing is, and I think this is something, Chuck and I talk about this a lot. It's we don't want to be thought of as foolish. We don't want to share something and put conjecture out there to say something's going to happen, because that's not thus saith the Lord. Although there are some people who do take it that way. Oh, we read through this thing, so thus saith the Lord, like Harold Camping, like some of the others,
People out there making the Lord look bad. They're always saying the Lord says this. I had this dream and all of that stuff. And it's kind of embarrassing, because then now you have to reevaluate your spiritual walk and be like, what happened? And I think they forget that a lot of their and I'm sorry, it's just I was there, so I speak for myself, is that there's a lot of zeal without knowledge. And so you get swept up by your emotions and what you think is the truth. And you start psychologically, ideologically becoming that idea, and you have dreams about it. You have all of these things, and you're like, oh, that's the Lord speaking to me. I'm like, no, it wasn't, because it's not in the Bible. So stop making that stuff up. And that's like the biggest thing for me, because I was in this weird, crazy Pentecostal church with all of this really bad doctrine, and I preached it from the pulpit with such zeal. I said some really unbiblical, heretical things that I regret to this day, because at certain times I felt guilty, because I remember talking to people that were dying of cancer and telling them, you're not going to die, because I had this word of faith, or this prophet told me, that you're not going to, you're going to be all right, and you're going to see your family and all of that. And then go back to that person, that mother of 3 with a husband, and give her last and final prayer to say goodbye to her family and say goodbye to the world. That was an incredibly horrific experience for me. And all because I had this idea of what the Bible says, or things like that. And so that kind of thing, you have to get as much as knowledge as possible about whatever subject it is you're doing, whether it's the gifts, whether it's, eschatology, any sort of prophecy whatsoever, anything from the past, any kind of doctrine that you can imagine, like, know it as best as you can, because otherwise you're going to say God says and all of this stuff, and God never said.
Yeah. And I think that's really where our heart's at, is sometimes we, in our zeal, or maybe it's not even zeal, maybe it's our hope, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
We want something to be true so badly that I think we add fuel to that fire. And so we could say it's thus saith the Lord, but it's really thus saith our hope.
Yeah.
is that we've begun. I know that if there were people who were very serious that the rapture is happening on the 23rd, it was because they might be experiencing something really difficult. They might be experiencing financial hardship, illness, maybe just in general. The last few years have just broken them. And they look around and they say, I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm.
And so they'll hold on to anything that feels like it's going to pull them out of where they're at. And so I know that, all leading up to this time, it's may have felt like mocking, and it really isn't meant to mock people who really hoped for something like this. What it really is just to kind of point out, don't lean so heavily on either words of man or self-deceptive words, because they give you a different type of hope. Because in that, our hope's not the rapture. That's not our hope. Our hope is in Jesus Christ, and our hope is in the resurrection that's promised,
right?
Which he brings.
Right.
So,
And there's a lot of things that happen psychologically if you're a pre-tribber as well. There's a lot of things that you're like, well, the world's going to hell anyways, so we're just looking to the sky, and it often sometimes hinders people from doing work for the kingdom. And I like I was talking to Stephen Prowse from over there from the Fourth Watch or the Fifth Horseman ministries and stuff like that, and he I like he has like, we should have a remnant versus rapture mentality. Like, you prefer to be someone who's in the midst of difficulties because God wills it to, but you're like doing work for the kingdom. And I kind of added to it and said, like, hey, let's work as if you knew he's coming back tomorrow, but you don't. We just don't know. Just work, do work for the kingdom of God. Who knows? Because you could be gone tomorrow. I don't know. We could die tomorrow. I don't. God calls us when it's time, and it could be the end for you. So stop worrying about, like, oh, is this September for reals, or on New Year's, or whatever other date, man. Let's just move forward from date setting of any sort. And today, tomorrow, the day that you're alive, do some work for the Lord, and you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of wanted to just look at a couple passages just to kind of give some people some hopes, because there were people who possibly just even talking about it who were just really sad that it didn't happen. So just looking at 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting verse 1. Now, regarding the arrival of our Lord Jesus Christ and our being gathered to be with him, this is Paul talking to the church in Thessalonica. It says, we ask you, brothers and sisters, do not be easily shaken from your composure or disturbed by any kind of spirit or message or letter allegedly from us, to the effect that the day of the Lord is already here. The verse 3, I think, has the key phrase here. Let no one deceive you in any way. And I think that's really that one key phrase that we have to keep in mind, that we are not supposed to be deceived. Matthew 24, when the disciples asked Jesus, hey, what's the end going to look like? Jesus waited till they were on the Mount of Olives, far away from everyone else, so he could have that frank conversation. He said, don't be deceived.
Yeah.
And then went into the first thing for us is say we should take these things skeptically. We should take it with a grain of salt. We need to think through some of these things and not be taken away by any kind of message that maybe pulls on that hope cord that we have in our heart, right? And you can read the rest of this. This is, for that day will not arrive until the rebellion comes and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction. And so it's saying, hey, just don't get too taken in by all of these things, but hold them at arm's length, right? Make sure that you're not being deceived. And I think that's a good thing. But then even later on, and it'll say that we're to stand firm in our faith, right? So whatever comes, whatever difficulty might come, whatever we're going through, we should stand firm in the salvation that we so assuredly have in him, regardless of what that looks like for us. So
Yeah. Definitely. Amen to that, because one of the first things that helped me drop the pre-trib rapture was like, you're not going to go through tribulation. Is like, dude, tell that to the Christians in the Middle East right now. Tell that to the Christians that are getting bombed by Azerbaijan right now. And I'll tell that to in different countries, in Pakistan, all kinds of places. There's horrific things happening right now. Christians getting tortured in India, and that was surprising to me, because you kind of like, really, India? But no, man, it's there's a lot of zealots of their religions, and they do not like that religion in any way, because they also subscribe it to culture. It's like a Westerner's religion and all kinds of things, and it turns into a race thing, and it's wild. And so yeah, man, I was like, I can't look at those people to their face and say, oh, don't worry, pre-tribulation rapture, you're gonna get taken away, when their families are dying and all of that stuff happening right before their eyes right now. And I just, there's a lot more to the end times. And if you want to know kind of where I stand, you can go back to a way early episode of Fire Theft Radio. We did an episode with Brian Gadawa called Apocalypse Now, Volume 1 and 2. And we talked about eschatology there. And I like his historical references to a lot of the things that he believes already happened in the book of Revelation. So partial preterism is interesting to me. I like a lot of the stuff that's there, but again, I don't subscribe to it neither, to say like that's what it is, because I don't think we're supposed to know, and that's fine with me. I just got to keep working, and we'll see what happens. I don't know where you stand, Mav, but
yeah, I think this is definitely an area that I've studied quite a bit of eschatology for quite a while. It was the first topic that I really took interest in and really started studying. I think it was about 11 when I really started jumping into a lot of these different things and read lots of books. And and my views have gone here and there and all over the place. And I think that's something that I would love to continue to talk about on Fire Theft Radio and over on some of my other things too. Other platforms. Because I think that it's worth discussing. It's worth getting into, if for no other reason, people feel more equipped to not be so easily taken in and so easily deceived. If that is the warning from Paul, if that's the first warning from Jesus, I think that we should probably take Jesus pretty seriously, and Paul as well. But it's something that we need to be aware of, and it's something that we need to be knowledgeable in, but we need to make sure that we're not being deceived. So I think that's if there is anything that is going to be an area study for this next year, maybe, I think it's going to be eschatology. So
let's do it.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get raptured on the next September 23rd.
See you next year.
For me, the last final thought is probably there might be some historical event that could be horrific, like 9/11. A lot of movies were pointing to 9/11 before 9/11 happened. And now a lot of movies in between that were also pointing to 9/23 and 9/22. So something could happen, we'll see. A lot of stuff also happens on, Skull and Bones Day, 3/22.
3/22.
So when you know the numbers, you start seeing a lot of patterns, a lot of things happening in these days. So that's probably where I stand. I'm like, if these numbers probably keep popping up because something might happen. It might be predictive programming and things like that. But
yeah,
eschatology wise, I don't think I'm buying into it. But we'll see. Could be wrong.
I do like this comment from good friend, Mr. Putris here. Partial preterism is like a mirror to today. That's why some believe in it so much, and I would agree. I think there are some situations that I don't believe in the whole history is like I don't believe history repeats, but I do think that since humans pretty much the same, a lot of the same patterns do arise, and I think a lot of those historical things really do come about in very similar ways. So yeah, I think that's true. I think there's a lot of situations with the timing of the rise of Christianity, the decline of the Roman Empire, a bunch of different things that sort of align with a lot of things today. And I would absolutely agree. I think that that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people see some of the similarities, which I would say, prophecy is probably big enough to capture all of that. So some people say, well, all those things were fulfilled before. It's like, yeah, it doesn't mean it's not going to
happen again
in the future. Yeah.
Maybe partially fulfilled, but not totally in some way. I mean, the already but not yet sort of mentality.
There is a camp who believes that 70 AD, like right around that time, it really was Jesus establishing a kingdom on earth. He actually ruled on earth for 1,000 years.
Right.
And then I don't know why it stopped. Why we kept going. Like, this feels weird. But anyway, there are people who hold to that too. So we'll just throw that out there. Lots of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff when you get into that for another time.
For next September 23rd.
Yes, indeed. Is that all you got, Mav?
That's all I got. I'm pretty tired.
I should be asleep, and I think our wives are kind of like, "What's going on, guys, with this midnight stuff? We've never done this before." So
I know.
I know. All right, folks, that's all we got. You know where to find us, Fire Theft Radio. You can email us at firetheftradio.com, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Probably by the next feed, we might be on other platforms like Rumble, Twitch. I'm gonna go everywhere because I do not trust YouTube, obviously, for obvious reasons. And since we're going to be doing more of this, probably a good idea to move over already pretty soon to other platforms like Rumble and things like that. Mav, you want to plug some of your stuff where they can find this, because it was also on your streams?
Yeah, I've got Maverick Pilgrim on YouTube. Same things. Probably going to be moving more into Rumble. I do have a Rumble that mirrors the YouTube, so stuff's already over there. Yeah, I got Instagram, the one Maverick Pilgrim there. And I'm also on X or Twitter.
They're going to get that X and then just the one eye that's showing on my thing. They're like, you see, they're Luciferian, dude. I should have worn my monster hat just to cause like the whole ruckus and then do this thing.
I would have hoped.
That's it right now. All these. Let's get him in there, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm still over there because there's still people over there. So, I think I'm just Math Pilgrim over there, but yeah, all the stuff's in the link tree, which is in the description. So, yeah.
So folks, you can catch us there. And again, I would highly recommend to go over to YouTube for now, because we probably didn't understand some of the stuff we were doing because there was a lot of visuals on this, But other than that, folks, we are landing this plane. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to spread the fire. Later.